Today we're here in our brilliant animal barn and we're going to be talking about bottle feeding. You'll learn about the process that goes into making that bottle, as well as why we need to bottle feed. You'll also be able to see the chaos that unfolds when I try and take one bottle into a pen of very naughty goats. Hello, my name's Jade and I'm Assistant Guest Experience Manager here at Cotswold Farm Park. I am actually one of the newest additions to the team here at the farm park. I've only been here since around April, so I'm only in my first couple of months. It's still very new to me being videoed, I must admit, so I'm still working on my videoing, but what I really enjoy through doing this is I can educate people not only when they're here at the farm park, but also those elsewhere viewing us on social media, and that's what I'm really looking forward to doing with you guys. So what we're going to do in a minute is I'm going to give you these guys our bottle. We've had to come this side because if you go in there, they're all try and fight for the milk. So what we do here is we do a bottle feeding session twice a day. The reason we do that is more for our event. This differs to in a commercial farm where our orphan lambs in a commercial farm would be on milk when they first start, but after a while they'd be what we call weaned off the milk. So in a normal environment, these guys would no longer be on milk. They'd be moved on to a hard food which we call cake or pellets, as well as forage such as hay. So at this age, for these animals, this milk that we do give them now is more like a treat. So they're equivalent to chocolate for us. They'll drink really nicely from the bottle here. What this milk actually is basically a formula milk. So it's very similar to what we might give babies. It's basically nutrients, vitamins and minerals as close to as what we can get to mother's milk, but without being mum's milk. So normally with our orphan lambs, they obviously don't have their mums anymore. So we give them artificial milk. The reason they might not have their mums would be either mum didn't have enough milk to support all of those lambs or goat kids she might have had, or she maybe didn't have any milk at all. This can happen sometimes, or something might have been slightly poorly with one of the goats or lambs. This basically is as close as mother's milk as we can get. We can't obviously make it absolutely accurate to the proper used milk, but it's as good as we can get it. The used milk will have the colostrum in it when they first are born. This won't have it in this powdered milk because they don't really need that anymore. That's just for the first 24 hours of life. What you often find is a lot of our lambs and goat kids will actually wean themselves off. So these guys clearly still like enjoying the milk. Sometimes they just don't come over. That's not because they're ill or they're not interested, more just they're probably full and they've weaned themselves onto food and hay as well. It's chaos trying to think about what to say. If they've been on a bottle, they associate people with really good things like really lovely milk. So if anyone gets pet lambs or pet goats at home and either bottle feeds them yourself or they've come from somewhere where they have been bottle fed, they'll be a lot more friendly and a lot more interactive with you than those sheep that might have been reared on their mum. They've been taught to be sort of afraid of people and try and be aware of any dangers. These guys, as you can see, are super friendly, and that's because they've always, as long as they can remember, associated us with good things like milk. So people that do have them as pets at home will just often call them and that'll be enough to get them over. They'll know that person. The other advantage is usually with smallholders, the numbers of animals that they have are a lot smaller. So they haven't got 200, 300 sets of sheep. They've got maybe 2, 3, 4. So they know the handler a lot better. They know their sheep. And as you can see, they're really friendly. So they can a lot easier to handle. So they haven't got to worry about having a sheepdog. They haven't got to worry about having a set of hands. They can often just get a bit of milk, and as you see, if I move away, they'll probably just follow me around the pen. That wouldn't normally happen with sheep. Normally, if I got in here, they'd scatter, try and get as far away from me as they can, but they're very comfortable in my surroundings. You know, they're near me, they're interested. It's very unusual, again, that you can stroke sheep. Again, they'd move away from that handling. That's why they're so helpful and lovely to have as pets or on small holdings, because they're easy to move around, handle, have any of those routine treatments are nice and easy as well. So what I was just doing, basically, as you can see, they're all fighting over the milk. So a nice way to make sure that they stay on the bottle is just support their chin underneath. It also means I can move this other lamb away from this one that's drinking. Also means they can't accidentally slip off the teat. They can do this when they're really enthusiastic. They'll sometimes slip off. This is more important when they're younger. At this age, they stay on the teat nicely. But when they're a lot younger and we're trying to encourage them to get on the bottle, because sometimes this can be quite difficult if they've never done it before, we just support them under their chin while they're drinking. Otherwise, like we say, they might fall off and then they'll be discouraged sometimes from going back on again. So it's like once you've got them on, you want to hope that they stay on. It makes it nice and easy for them as well. And as soon as the bottle's finished, we take that straight away. And there's a really important reason why we do that. Basically, if you carry on letting them suck when a bottle like this is empty, basically that's them just sucking air. Now that can make them a little bit poorly, so it's why we do it, but we also ask when people come in and bottle feed to take those bottles straight away, so they're not sucking air. That's also why we don't feed sort of like this. We make sure when it's in the mouth, it's nice and high. You might have seen me holding it really high. Again, so that's stopping any of that air getting sucked and accidentally entering their bellies. Our milk machine that's out the back is very clever. It saves us a lot of time when we're trying to make up a lot of bottles. The way it works is basically we pop a whole bag of milk powder in the top. It's got a sieve type tray at the top, making sure that there's no lumps of milk powder getting to the bottom. What we do is it's then programmed to deposit the right amount of milk powder to the right amount of water. Now, that water doesn't just come out just cold, it comes out again set at a certain temperature. This temperature is normally around body temperature. This then fills into sort of like a blender type container at the bottom. What it then does is it's got a set of paddles at the bottom which will spin around really quickly, and it blends that milk powder and that water together to form a lovely, nice mixture which we now call our milk. So it's basically like a formula milk that we'd have babies on and set to a nice temperature so it's nice and warm and ready to be fed. The amount we put in the bottle varies depending on how busy we are. If we've got a lot of people wanting to bottle feed, we'll pop just a small amount in the bottle so everyone gets a go. But on the quiet days, we'll pop more like half or 3/4 of our bottle in. So we judge it depending on how many people we've got. Bottle feeding here at the farm park starts around April and carries on all the way through till September. That's quite a long period again, but we want to do that so everyone gets a chance to come in and have a go at bottle feeding. Like we said before, commercial farms will be a lot shorter window of bottle feeding. So as you can imagine, everyone that works here do develop slight favourites. Now my favourite has to be Dumbo. The reason I call her Dumbo is she's got very prolific, really tall ears. Now this isn't something that's wrong with her, she's actually a Border Leicester cross. So Border Leicesters have really tall ears that are very obvious to spot, and that's what defines them as a Border Leicester. They're really easy to spot out of all your breeds. They're very, very obvious with their beautiful tall ears. So I think she's got to be one of my favourites for this year. I'm sure I'll develop lots more over the next couple of years. So I hope that gave you a good insight into what we do here at the farm park with our bottle feeding, and I hope you also learned a little bit about something that happens on farms elsewhere. If you've got any questions, please just leave them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.